Welcome back to the Better Living Interest channel. I'm Paul Pérez, and today's guest has worn many hats in the real estate industry than most of us have in our closets. Christopher Pitt, MBA, has served as a loan officer, a real estate agent, and now thrives as a real estate broker and a real estate developer, combining sharp business acumen with a deep passion for helping people achieve homeownership and investment goals. From navigating complex financing to closing high-value deals, Christopher's career has been all about turning housing dreams into reality. Christopher, I'm excited to have you on the show. Thank you for joining us.
Oh man, that's great, man. All we need is theme music with a walk up like that. That's great.
For sure, man. You're doing it big.
Try.
Can you provide us a quick introduction of yourself, your market, where you're based out of, and what you're currently doing?
Yeah, man. You said a lot about some of the overviews of what I'm doing, but I am Christopher Pitt. I have a deep passion for providing real estate with a purpose. That's really where I kind of layer it down to. My markets, I'm from North Carolina. Eventually, I wanted to get back and do some more business there. Professionally, it brought me to the Baltimore, Delaware, Philly market. So I've been in these areas for the last 10 or 15 years and different levels of skill set. And as far as professionally, privately, I've just been doing nothing but real estate since the minute I got that mortgage broker license and started that journey. Cause this stuff is always changing and you can always learn another tool in the tool belt, as they say.
Yeah, no, for sure. And people don't understand that being a mortgage officer is different from being a developer, which is different from being an agent. They're all within real estate industry,
Right.
but they're all separate, different. You being able to do that work, man, I kind of share the same. So it's rare to find somebody who knows all of that work too.
Yeah, I did my research on you too. I think when I saw NACA, I was like, oh my. I think at some
Yeah.
time in NACA, like that was, I use a lot of NACA products. Put it that way.
Yes, Naka is a beast on its own for sure. So what path led you from loan officer to agent to broker? What inspired you to stay and grow within this real estate industry?
Poverty. That's what did it, man. Just growing up when it's just not having a lot of resources around you, right? You don't know how impactful that is when you just, starting off just some background. So I grew up in rural North Carolina. Like I said, I grew up more in a sharecropper environment. That means we worked on the farm, but we didn't really own it for the most part. That was my family business. So really I just was born into labor. So I was working, man, ever since I was like 7, 8 years old. So that's all I knew. But as the journey kept going, I went through some periods of housing instability and I realized how impactful that was. And, as a kid, you didn't really know what to do, but you can feel it, right? So I could just really feel the difference between when we had something stable or when we was in smaller apartments with people you didn't know and just trying to make ends meet. So that all plays a role in your family, how you interact. I was the oldest sibling from a single mom. So a lot kind of fell on my plate to figure out fast in life. But that's what really got me going, man. And to do anything in this world, man, you have to understand capital and currency is what makes things happen. And we, not having any of that around me, any mentors around me, I didn't have bankers. I had people with, money in shoeboxes. So it was a lot to learn. So once I start to understand, real estate and thinking about housing perspective from shelter, I went from shelter first, right? Just understanding the importance of that from a shelter standpoint. I wanted to figure out how to acquire more. How do I help other people do it? Right. So the first line of defense, I just wanted to kind of figure out where, funding finances, because again, that was so far from what I was used to. That I felt like that was a good way, a good foundation to get me into it. And, I had the foresight of kind of having a long-term vision in play. Like I knew I wanted to be at some point an owner of real estate. And I knew that was just part of my purpose. So I really was strategic. When you see those things on my resume or whatnot, I didn't go there for salaries. I went there for that exact skill. So I went across the country doing that for a long time. Finally, it comes together now. So it was a lot of me being strategic in the beginning, just knowing that at some point this was my purpose.
That's powerful, man. To say that you grew up in a sharecropping family to now building real estate and having, land and you're the
Right.
owner.
Right.
That's powerful.
It really is, man. It was something you carry, take serious. As you know, that's how you found me, right? I take this stuff extremely serious. I believe in the power of ownership, and I want to make sure everybody gets a fair shake at it because I didn't. I know what that feels like, so I do my job to try to help that come true for someone else.
100%. And like when you was going, you said you were intentional, and I think a lot of people who oftentimes they kind of miss that. So you went to several universities and colleges throughout the country. You traveled. Can you speak about what that was like going from your home state to then traveling to different states to get education, and what were you learning while you were doing that?
Well, the first thing that got me out, like some sports got me out. Honestly, that's what really opened up my opportunities. Put it that way. I had an opportunity to play football in my little hometown or whatnot. And that was so impactful for me for two reasons. A, we didn't have a car. We didn't have anything, but I had a coach come take some interest in me and really pick me up. And he just said, ask my mom, like, look, I think this kid can make the team. And I knew I could make the team just because my will was too much, right? They wasn't doing what I was doing. They wasn't putting in working sun up to sundown. So I knew that wouldn't be a problem. The problem was still transportation. And the thing that happened next was unbelievable to me, man. It's like I went from unknown to people kind of understood my story and wanted to be helped, right? So that first 3 or 4 years of me playing football, man, it was a community effort. I'm talking about people I didn't even know pick me up, strangers take me home. It was just like to see people like really believe in me. Like that was the first time that ever happened, right? So that led me down this road, like I can't let them down kind of thing, right? Like I said, I take every opportunity. That's really why I became intentional. I gotta make sure that I take advantage of the situation. And again, if somebody believes in me, I need to pay it forward. So football got me actually out to California. I was still trying to live that dream. Went to Temple University, played football there. Loved it, man. First time in the big city. Hello, guy from the country. That was an unbelievable transition, let me tell you. But enjoyed every moment of it. And like when them days were over, when I was out in California, I knew it was time to get into real estate. The loan officer thing was just, tracking in my head. And I will say this, I don't know your experience, but for me, man, it was some of the greatest sales training I ever got in my life, right? Because them was the days, you're talking 20 years ago, like when you're on the phone pounding, you got a predicted dollar. You're just anybody who picks up, you're trying to connect with them in that short period of time to get them to give you personal information over the phone from a person they don't even know, right? So not saying the process was great, but it really taught me how to connect with people. I understood what moves people. And then you started hearing the stories, right? When you talk so much volume, you start finding the barriers. And that was part of the thing that probably struck me the most. Wasn't the money I was making. It was about how many people that didn't qualify, right? How many horror stories I heard about people really wanting this to happen. And it's, they may be $1,000 off or the DTI may be 1% over, stuff like that. And it's not just that one decision, like they one event that changed their whole trajectory of their family. Like, so now they quit and then nobody else in the family wants to do it because they had a bad experience. So that stuff really, stuck with me and kind of paid the way for me.
Helping people achieve generational wealth through real estate, going through that daily grind of connecting with individuals literally over the phone. You didn't even meet
Right.
them,
No,
was like that motivator for you, and it kept you in that hustle.
that's right.
And do you miss those loan officer days? Like
You know
missing an
what?
old pair
That's
of
funny you
shoes?
say that. I don't want to say if I missed those days, but I missed the impact of it, right? Because really, when you're doing real estate, man, getting that finance is the most important things for those people, right? Everybody found ways to acquire property. There's so many ways you can go out and get property different ways, but to get a permanent financing on your home, that takes some dedication. That takes a lot of change in behavior, habits for a person. So I missed the impact of it. And just seeing those people actually close was really a great thing for me because I knew they had to put in a lot of work to get there.
Yeah, I could share the same sentiment. The day-to-day transactions, it could be a lot sometimes, but
Right.
the overall impact though, when they do get to that crossing line, it does feel super rewarding.
Well, let me tell you when I didn't love it. Now, let me take you back a little bit. So I was around when 2008 was going on. I had two brokerage in Florida at that time. And I thought it was my mama I made it moment, things was going well. It was growing. And man, I remember like it was yesterday. Like it was like late August. start hearing about the recession and Lehman Brothers collapse. And I'm like on the phone, like trying to like place loans in other banks. And I've never heard this in my entire life. You will call a big bank and they'd be like, we're no longer in service. I'm like, that's countrywide. Like, how? Like, that was wild to me, man, to go through that. That was probably the roughest 2 years of my career I had, was trying to figure out how to survive during that time.
Yeah, I've heard the stories. Unfortunately, I wasn't in the industry yet. I
Unfortunately,
just started college. I heard the story
it was
test to get
ugly.
the MLS exam. They talk about that history. There were no documents verifying a lot of things, incomes, identification, all kinds of stuff. It was just like, you
Look,
sign up, you good, you got blood, here you go, here's a loan.
when you start seeing your landscape in a $2 million house, you might want to think something might be a little off.
Wow. But there's a lot of money being made too. I think it helped.
It was. And like I said, it wasn't like anybody, it was just the products they had. It was a civilization around homeownership, and that was great, but they overcorrected with some of the stuff. And like anything, if you give some people opportunity, they're going to take it, right? They used the rules, so, and unfortunately it ended up bad for a lot of people. But it was a fun time though, because it was just seeing so many people acquire real estate at a clip like that. It was a wild time, man.
100%. I do think that it really helped a lot of people. But now with these new guidelines, these new safeguards, it's really good because it's helping people purchase homes that they can't afford and allowing them to stay. And I think that's also kind of placated to where we're at in the economy with the housing market, because we have a shortage of housing. And it's partly because many of the people that have purchased homes, they're not selling their homes because they could actually afford it. So there is no foreclosure, but now we need new development. And that now breaks me to my next question for you, which is, as a real estate developer and a broker today, what's your core mission in serving clients, whether they're first-time home buyers, investors, or sellers?
Core mission for me is always going to be, I want people to own. That is my core mission, whatever that is. If you're the homeowner, great. If you're the developer, great. Own it. Own your land. Just own something in this world. That's really my core mission, because people don't realize how different that is for people. When you walk into a bank and you're renting, that can be the same person I am today, but I'm a renter. I walk into the bank, they don't really see me as anyone they can really have a relationship make with. I walk in and say, hey, I got 50 properties, or I got 2 properties. It's just different. When you have an asset on your balance sheet, you become bankable. And I think that's what people don't understand. It's not all just get the dream home, man. You're trying to put yourself in a financial position. A lot of people use you're getting your home for the first time, because that has the best lending criteria for you to get 3% down, sometimes 100%. That's your gateway in. But if you are strategic about how you do it, it can be a lot more for you. And that's really what I try to teach people on my journey. Like for me, I'm just, I'm not the guy who's trying to tell you can get rich quick with real estate. You'll never hear me say that, right? But I am the guy to say you can set your family up in this way and that way. And I want you to do this and do that. Because for me, it's all about, how do I address the barriers I see? So you've seen this before, because you got some of the same kind of experience. It's like, the people I serve is normally first-time home buyers, first generational, that type of crowd. Those are my people. So I know the challenges they have and the barriers. So I just got tired of just seeing everybody hit a new barrier. Every time they get close, it's another barrier. So you get some people that's in home ownership courses. They got the credit together. They got the savings together. They did everything you can ask them to do. And then they go out in the marketplace and get beat out because they can't go over asking. They can't make their offer as compelling. So for me, it was important that if I could cater to those individuals, at least somebody's out here saying, look, I would like to work with you, and I see you as a strong offer. I mean, if you worked at NACA, you understand how different it is for people. When you tell some people, or a realtor or agent, you show that thing and like, hey, they're part of a program, they don't even want to accept it. They have to show it. They have to tell themselves, but they don't consider it as a strong offer a lot of the time. So it's really educating around that and really being a voice to those people so they can get opportunities as well.
Yeah, I'm a recipient of NACA. I've got into real estate by way of purchasing my first home, which allowed me to be in this affluent community here in North Buffalo. and I helped serve over 84 clients as a loan officer myself in those 3 years. So it's real, there is a lot of, and still now to this day, I still work in this capacity as an agent, as a director at a not-for-profit that's doing housing focus and stuff. So it is a little bit challenging when people are going out there and they can't afford it, and or the sellers are looking at what you're providing to them and they're saying that this is not valid or this is not valuable, when it's money, it's dollars. It's just coming by
Right.
way of a different
The source
source.
shouldn't be the issue, right? The source shouldn't be the issue if they can afford it. Fun fact though, I still got my NACA mortgage. Will you believe that?
That's what's up.
I'm sitting on that lovely 1%, baby. I'm not letting it
Wow.
go.
Congratulations. That's what's up. Yeah, mine's is a 2.675. I've been here now for 9 years.
Yeah, me too. I had about like 10, 11 years. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, man.
Oh, another fun fact that I learned on the way that I thought, sometimes you're doing the right thing, but you create another barrier for yourself. And I'm sure you ran into this too. What I didn't know is I'm out here trying to help people when I was a loan officer and real estate agent to get homes. And then I realized that I made myself less bankable because no one likes commission in the banking world, right? So it was harder for me to get a home because I was in that space. I'm thinking because I got more, I know more about it. I got different relationships. Oh no, player. You got commission. That was awful. Like what, 50% of your income? It was just rough, man.
Yeah, you definitely, people who are commission based and or 1099 contractors or business owners, you have to account for the deduction that people write off. And some, on the front end, we're not certified accountants. We're not giving legal advice here or financial advice. However, as loan officers, we understand that when we get these clients and they have these types of jobs, that there's certain ways in which the bank bets their income to make sure that they're profitable, et cetera, and that they can afford these properties. So yeah, it gets tricky.
Yeah, I wasn't ready for that one. I was like, oh. So you're saying I get a real job is what you're saying, people? That's what you're saying?
At least something that you can have for maybe 9 to 5 hours where it's stable salary wise.
Hey, that what, for a long time in my career, I've absolutely done that. I mean, pretty much every stage of my life, I kept some level of employment just because of that reason. I mean, like you got to learn, man. Once I understand like how to do something, it's only up from there. Like I'm like, oh, okay, this is what we need to do. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, it shows too. So could you share a project or deal with a client that was a success story that really stuck out to you? Maybe it was a complex one, or maybe it was a simple one, but something that always has an impression.
No simple ones. I don't do the luxury, baby. My stuff is all hardcore people in pursuit, man. Like we talking emotional transformation. So it's a couple different ones. I mean, honestly, I'm gonna give you two. I give you my personal one. I was shocked when I was able to be approved. Honestly, like for someone that was, like you said, grew up the way I grew up. No one in my family really had property into, and my first home was to be in like Boca Raton, Florida. Like I couldn't quite process that. There was a lot going on at that time, and I just saw the people around me. That was a team win, put it that way. So I always think about that feeling that keeps me motivated. From a client standpoint, it's a couple, but I'm gonna put them in this bucket because I do a lot of community work, man. So I do a lot of the thing I don't like, and you can appreciate this from being a developer, is I go to a lot of community meetings. Most time what I hear is they don't know anything about what's happening in their community. They can't participate in the economics of that community. That's what you hear a lot of the time. Well, I go above and beyond to make sure I tell everybody what's happening, right? Even if I'm not there, I'm like, look, here's the path of progress that you need to be watching. Not for me, for you. Like if you're thinking about investing home, it may not look like much now, but look 4 or 5 years from now, because this is the way that you're going to be able to participate in the economics of it. You can't wait till the poodle and Starbucks is on the block and then go there. You can't do that. It's too late. But anyway, one of the people I think I truly admire, man, it was someone that, I ain't gonna use his name, but it's just, she had 3 jobs, man, and she was getting penalized because it was all part-time work, right? All part-time work. And this girl was going back to school. And I just saw so much grit in this girl. I'm like, man, and I kept telling her, I'm like, look, It's just a matter of when. Like, it's just, I'm gonna stick with you. I stuck with this girl for like 3 years, man. Like, I was determined this girl was gonna get a house if she was gonna live with me. Like, it was going to happen. That's how she deserved it, man. You have met
Yeah.
people that like,
Yeah.
man, they deserve it, man. Like, you see somebody put in gate sacrifice. She wasn't going out on no trips. You're watching every little thing in her budget. She's proving to you that she's saving. And then to get there, like I said, one event, we got her to the place where she almost locked down. The grant source was gone. So now that contract was terminated because she didn't have the grant anymore. Another situation was, I think she paid, I mean, I'm done being real honest there. I think she paid a utility bill that showed up right when they pulled the credit at the end that put her over like, it was just like stuff that was small in theory, but traumatic for her. And I just felt so, and just in debt. I'm like, I don't care what I got to do. Right. We're going to make this happen. But she stuck to it, man. And she got her home. And man, you wouldn't believe this today. So you probably would, but not only did she get that home, man, she's out there. She probably got 2 or 3 investments. And I'm almost thinking about her when I start growing in her area. Like, it's just like, it's so crazy to see how this thing has turned. But that's the power of it, man. Sometimes the hardest part is just getting through. If you can ever get through on the other side, it's a lot easier, but you won't know that until you get through. So that's probably one of the pops in my mind.
That's huge. That's major. Those are the stories, like when you're doing that work, because loan origination, even being a real estate agent, anything within real estate, it doesn't just happen overnight. Real estate is a long-term game. Sometimes deals take 3, 6, 12, 24 months,
Right.
So to get it to that finish line and to see that she was working hard had inspired you to do your work. Yeah, that's powerful, man. I've had a few clients like that too, and they always stick with you because it keeps you motivated.
That's right, man. Because you're really, you're changing their life. A lot of times, like, you don't have people to stick with them like that, right? Because you got to think about it. So in today, especially today, like, here's someone say, hey, they're going to stick with you for 24 months. That's not the norm. Everything is fast. It's microwave now, right? We got to close it now. So I deal with a lot of brokers, a lot of agents, and, some of them, they're straight and say, oh, well, let me know about 8 months from now. I'll catch up with you in 8 months from now and see where you at financially and see, where we need to engage. They don't stay with you a lot of the time. So when you can find those kind of people, and this is for anybody listening who's buying a home, you find an agent or whoever, broker that treats you that way, look, you got to go because it don't happen every day. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's rare. I tell people all the time, especially when I worked at NACA, this is a process and this is your process, right?
Right.
There's a journey aspect of it because everybody's process is different. So there's going to be some new nuances that you're going to have to figure out. But, you carry this. What you need is as a team, you need a great loan officer or mortgage counselor is what they're called. You need a great realtor or real estate agent, and you need a great inspector. If you have those 3 working with you and you're providing everything that they need to help you throughout this process, you're going to carry this through and you're going to make it. You're going to be fine. But again, at the end of the day, the common denominator is you as the individual. So when you carry yourself that way, it really helps people want to go a little bit extra. All right, I'll sacrifice this hour to process your paperwork and go through it.
Right.
Or
like I said, you got to be the first investor in you. I tell people that all the time. If you're not showing an investment in yourself, no one else is going to care. A lot of people do that. They want so much from other people, but they don't want to do much for themselves. So I have to give, and sometimes I come off, I don't know, it's too real sometimes. I don't have time. I tell, look, check who you're talking to first. The messenger matters. I'm speaking solely from experience. To your point, I'm not here to just hold your hand. I'm here to give you a hand up. Like, if you're willing to put in the work, I grind with you. I'm with you, right? So, and they need to hear that a lot of times, especially the demographics that I work with, they never had someone to keep them accountable because they're always finding ways to self-sabotage. I know that it's just like, there's a reason why they can't do it. My job don't pay enough. Oh, I didn't go to school. It's always something. I went through everybody has this, but you go through these, I hate to even say it, but it's like imposters, I guess what they call it now. Like, even for me, like growing up, knowing in the back of my mind how I grew up, but now I'm working at global companies like CBRE, right? And I'm sitting in there with my suit, I'm G'd up, and I'm sitting there watching all these people that went from Yale and all these places. That's all they ever had was resources, but I'm in there competing with them. And I'm sitting there like, I got to put on the face like, yeah, I was here too. Like I went to Yale too. Damn. So we all go through that kind of stuff. So I think it's important that they can find someone, especially again, not the people that, if it's just a financial transaction, I just want a new house just because I got it like that. Those ain't my people. I got to be honest with you. It's people that means a little more to them because I'm going to give them a little bit more.
Sure. And all of this advice that you've been given, you spoke a lot about how you advise the individuals that you're serving, your clients. What would be the one lesson experience that you think every aspiring real estate professional who's trying to do the similar work that you're doing, what should they know?
I think with all the changes that are coming, that are already here within the real estate industry, I know things are sped up, but we got to go back to really being a consultant or a person that they see as a mentor kind of relationship with God. When I first started, it was very different too, because they didn't have all this information accessible. You couldn't go to Redfin and see all this information in real time. So what I tell people all the time, you got to build a personal brand that people identify with, because at this point, all the information is accessible if they put in the work, right? So what they're looking for is someone that can guide them through an experience that, that looks like theirs, right? Connect with them. You're like, and I think that's what we meant. I talk to hungry agents and man, it's all about, they jump right in first, like how to list or whatever. Like they skip everything and just trying to get to the close. And I understand the power of close, always be closing, all right? ABC. But I think in today's world, where things are so available to you, you got to bring more you to the table. And I think that's what I would advise people to do.
That uniqueness, that individuality is key.
Right.
And since, speaking of individuality, you're a unique individual, especially within this industry, right? So you've worked the full spectrum from financing, sales, brokerage, real estate development. How does that unique perspective help guide your clients more effectively?
Again, I researched their problems for them, right? So each sector of my career was based around trying to figure out a barrier and come up with a solution, right? I didn't want to be, because I just didn't know. I didn't have it around me. So I didn't have mentors. Like I had to really figure it out. I'm one of those people, like you said, you probably hear now, like go work for someone you admire or something like that. Like or admire something they do. So for me, why I position myself in a way, it's very few points along this journey that I haven't been involved with or have some kind of interaction with, or if I don't know somebody that can help you out in this situation. So that it's not for everyone, because that's a long-term intentional path. And that's a little different from today. But as we speak today, it really gives me the opportunity to reach them at any level on that journey and beyond, right? A lot of times you probably know this too as an agent, right? You close on the house and you never hear from the person again. By me having different skill set, I created continuity for them to still want to be able to tap into me because they want the next home, or they want to get into real estate, or they want to refer someone to me, or it's lots of different things that happen based on my experience and what I can bring to the table.
You become a guide because you understand all the aspects within real estate, financing. What does that look like? My budgeting. How does it look like to maintain a house? I'm a developer. I work with contractors. I know what a full rehab would look like. So I could come over and tell you if this is really where you should be at, or if this is something that you could delay until you get the money up to fix that, where you really need to fix a foundation before you fix a window type of
That's right.
ordeal. Yeah,
Give them
that's
a real plan.
that's great. Yeah, that's amazing. What common mistakes do you see buyers and sellers making, and how can they avoid them?
Well, that's twofold for me. So my clientele, I think they're not understanding the economics of it. So now I'm in this space now with house prices being so high, rates so high, like it's not a supply for first time home buyers. Like it's tough. So what I'm trying to get people to move away from the dream home, dream location, and think about your first home as an investment to get you there, to let this be a bridge to wherever you want to go in life next. I just seen too many people get caught up on that, I want to be at this place right here, right now. But here's the thing that pisses me off. I don't know if I can say that or not, but I deal with so many people, because this is a pain point for me. I deal with so many people that they swear to God they would not they will never own in this home. They would never own in this area, but they rent right down the street for 10, 15 years. I'm like, but your family's already here. You're renting here, and you have this illusion that you're going to buy some beautiful home that you can't afford at all. You have no plan to afford, right? But I can show you a place that you're living at. We need to buy our own hood, man, buy our own community. That's where the money's at. Unless you got a rich uncle, as they say, and you're trying to, bootstrap your way up, the best thing that we can do is be in those places that we used to rent at, find something that we can own. Does not have to be your dream house. Make it your first investment. Go in that thing intentional. I'm going to lock this. I'm going to live here for 5 years based on these numbers. I should have X amount of dollars available for me to go buy the house I want. And I spend a lot of time with it. It goes over people's head, but that's really what I tap into with people, man. Because I think I see too many people miss out. I got people now that called me 3 years ago. And guess what happened? The price ain't went down in 3 years. I'm like, so if you couldn't afford it then, what do you think you're going to do now? So again, the advice from me would be like, really look where you live right now. Unless you're financially really ready to just go and do your thing. But if you are like on, marginalized, like you close, but you're not quite there, start at home.
Like a moderate income, a workforce income, they would consider.
Right.
Yeah, I agree to that. And you alluded to it too. You can buy now and you're building equity. Because as you said, you want to go to a Class A neighborhood, but you couldn't afford Class A neighborhood back in 2016. What makes you think you're going to afford it in 2020? And then the pandemic happened, and then you saw how property values just skyrocketed. So it just keeps going up. It's not going to go down. Cost of living is not going down.
It's not. And now if you start looking at the macro part of it, right, bro, they're not building enough. We're like still 6 million houses down. Look, this is like people don't think that for it's never a time in history where you've seen rates this high, right? And home prices still skyrocketing at the same time. Like most times, they go a different direction. Most times the rates go up, everything slows down, prices come down. That hasn't really happened for years. People are still getting in competitive bids right now. You wait till next month if they drop rates. It's another sleeper for people. All that does is create more competition. So that house might be at a better rate, but now you got 3 or 4 people you got to beat out. So it's always something you got to deal with when you're out here trying to buy your home or real estate.
Yeah, I agree. And for someone watching who wants to become a broker, who wants to do real estate development, do real estate agent work one day, what skills should they start building now to get them to that point?
Man, before like I said, I would have told you sales. I would say, look, man, get comfortable with sales and understand how to, close, right? But now, man, it's really being more authentic in your lead generation, right? You got to be a person that is seen, to your point, like a guide. We can't be the source of all knowledge anymore because it's too accessible. But what you can do is be someone that can identify their customized problems that they're going to have, right? So that's why it's always good to kind of, find your niche or your people you work with, because most of the time they're going to run through some of the same problems that you've been through. You're able to guide them. It's a good word, guide them through it. And I think really being more connected is going to be where we need to be at in the age of technology. Man. There's so much stuff happening now. I mean, I had a cold caller call me and it was an AI agent. I'm like, what is this? Like, what is going on? You would never think that would happen now. So at some point, this stuff will kind of become white noise, and the people that are authentic and they know as a person, I think is going to eventually come back to the top. And I think if I had to double down on it, that's what.
Appreciate that. Thank you. How do you see the current real estate market? You alluded to this earlier, the interest rates, the changes, the low supply. How do you see the market shaping opportunities for agents, for developers, for home buyers and real estate investors?
Depending on the sector too, right? It's like, but what I do think is depending on, quite honestly, where the rates drop, right, is where you're going to see a lot of activity, right? I think you have a lot of people locked into them, or like me, honestly, you're not going to go out here and refi unless you must into a much larger thing. So, and what that does is stop people from really moving around and giving other first-time home buyers those starter homes in the market. So everybody just stayed in their home. So I'm hoping rate come down some. I think there's going to be increased activity in it. All right. This is normally what happens. People start understanding rates, but more importantly, man, I hope it's people like you and me can break through to people, understand it's not just the houses. Be a part of owning the land, be a part of owning the real estate so you can be on the other side of the table. Like that's the transition we should be able to get to people. I hate when people just stop their journey at that closing table for the home. Like, it's a lot more stuff you can do. You have my permission to keep going. I think you got to tell them that. I just want to see more people like me and you in these spaces. Be on a call with you right now to talk. That wasn't around before. Like the fact that we're, a lot, you don't really know me. I don't really, we just see, wow, this guy got some characteristics and things that I think I vibe with. And now collectively we can see each other. Like, what can we do? It's not like before when everybody like killed or be killed. That was a lot of sales stuff and it's kill or be killed. Now we got to go into, you mentioned it earlier, like how do we collaborate to do something bigger? And that's a different kind of structure. That's a different kind of education we got to put people on because most people don't think that way.
Yeah. In my mind, I live in abundance. I grew up, I
Right.
didn't have much. My upbringing was very similar. We weren't in the rural South, but we was in the urban New York City core, right?
Right.
So we grew up, we didn't have ownership. I was the first generation to get ownership and property. And I felt more complete when I purchased my house than when I had got my master's degree. And it happened all within 4 months of each other on the same
Right.
year.
You know
So
why? The house means something. Put that thing out there. It's crazy, but it's the truth. Like, yeah, man. And I try to describe that feeling to people, and I don't blame them because they just don't know. But if you walk in a bank, the same bank you've been banking at, and they know you as a renter, the minute you own a home, you're going to be different. It's people going to be walking up to you like, hey, how's it going? You know, are you looking to do this with your home? It's like you have an asset. And I don't think people know the power of that. And that's why I really try to drive home.
ownership changes everything. Are there any underrated negotiations or market strategies you think more real estate professionals should be using?
Oh, they ain't like this, but give first, man. Just give more. I mean, we used to run around the car, spend a lot of time with, people. We don't really do that anymore, right? So now, I think now your opportunity is really understanding who you bring on as a client. And is there anything you can make it personal about, right? Is any connection points you can make something, spend more time on that customer journey because we're not in the cars looking at every house anymore. Man, they doing it themselves these days.
Yeah, legit. Or online.
Or online. Like, I mean, they just Google Drive and I'm like, it's great. So what do you need me for?
And because you have been there, done that, you're living in the present, and yet you also look ahead. I've noticed to go from sales to then loan origination to then broker to then developer, you have to have vision. Where do you see the real estate brokerage or real estate industry world heading in the next 5 to 10 years, especially with technology?
Tokenization, baby. That's the next thing you're going to be hearing from me, right? So I already have a platform. I have the pursuit to own token. I just haven't really unveiled it yet.
Okay.
But I think that is going to be a great way for a lot of people to get into real estate, right? I think that's going to be a great way for a group of common people to get purchase power together, go out and buy something big together, right? So just in my experience with it over the years, I see that as what we should be doing. I'm a part of buying a building in Harrisburg, PA. And like you said, it's a $3 million building. I didn't have to put up all the in, but it was like 20, 30 people in. But it was just great to see. You know what I mean? Like, wow, we bought this thing together, right? I couldn't do it myself, but as a group, we went in there and we did it. So, and the ease of it, man, like the blockchain is real, man. The blockchain simplifies a lot of this stuff, man. So, again, you're talking about somebody who went from a tobacco field to tokenization of real estate. So I still got a lot of journey left in my friend.
Tobacco to tokenization. Oof, love that, man. Fire. This is great. Oh, man. And we would definitely love to come out and visit. I'm familiar with Harrisburg. I've never stood in Harrisburg, but, driving to see family and friends. I live in Buffalo, New York now. So we would drive from Buffalo to cut through Harrisburg to get to DC, Baltimore, and see family and friends down there. Great city. Love the rivers.
Yeah.
Aesthetically very
I love
nice.
it. Well, I'll let you know, man. We got a lot of cool projects coming up. So I keep you in the loop when you're coming
Yes.
through on 95.
Yes. We would definitely love to get some footage out there so that way the viewers can see it. Cause I think sometimes, at least for me, what's inspired me a lot in real estate and taught me a lot about this industry was YouTube. So because
Right.
I had access to go online and learn this stuff, it wasn't from college, it wasn't from school at all. So I think that this is a really great platform to help people as well.
YouTube. Oh, God, it's amazing.
Yeah, man, I'm loving it. And speaking
Schools
about,
University, baby.
yes, and then discussion with tech, right? And then marketing or client service, what are you most excited about right now? So you talked about tokenization. What else within tech that has really got you inspired within the industry?
I'll be lying to you because it's scary and awesome at the same time. Man, I'm just fascinated with just a lot of the AI stuff. Again, talking about somebody they did it the hard way their entire life, and just to see some of the stuff like it can do and the time it can save, and you're also pushing out the impact you have for people. Like, be quite honestly, like good part, great productivity goes up. Bad part, I think it's going to knock out a lot of first-time home buyers because if these jobs are no longer there, I think we in for a big shift. So those are some of the things that kind of keep me up at night thinking about that. Also, that's why I'm transitioning to, more tokenization because I think it be a point in time when people are more tuned to do fractional ownership if they can't buy everything. I think that may be still a way to create income for yourself. So that's kind of the things I think through. I think it's a lot of great to it, but I do understand, what could possibly happen on the backside of it. So, and again, if you can be naive and just not think about it, or you can prepare for it. So I like to be prepared.
I see. I've heard of the idea of tokenization. They talked about it back around, I want to say 2018, 2019. There was a deal that went down in UK for purchasing, and it was through Bitcoin. Now,
Yeah.
well, again, 2019, 2018, correct me if I'm wrong, the price point was well under $50,000. We're talking about maybe like
God. That is
20K
the impression
less.
that I should slap myself over, you know. So, not even getting to the like Bitcoin, but it's just like, dude, I remember this thing. So I know we're running a little late, but I remember this from one of the guys we was working together in housing together, right? And this guy was telling me about Bitcoin. I'm like, "Wait, what is Bitcoin, right?" But at that point, he was only trying to use it because he was like, betting games and didn't want his wife to know. So it was not like this asset. So that's kind of what I had envisioned. Like, oh man, this is what guys like that doing that kind of stuff. I had no idea, man, that it would turn into what it is today. And I definitely missed that one.
Well, you're still in it. So
Still in it.
you're still
But
in
man, I
it.
could have been in it. I could have
Yeah.
been in it.
You're gonna
Oh,
grow.
man.
You're gonna grow doing the deals
Yeah.
you're doing. I'll tell you. I'll share a story with you and the viewers here. There was a
Yeah.
client that I had about the year 2019, late 2018. He had purchased his house through NACA with Bitcoin. So what he
What?
did was he had put his money into Coinbase, right? At the
Mhm.
time, Coinbase was bubbling up. He was putting his money compounding interest. He was dollar cost averaging. It started growing, growing, growing. He got to the point where we were getting him approved. And, you can use a stock or an asset to show that you have proof of funds for your MRF, your
Right.
minimum required funds for
Right.
NACA. So
Mm-hmm.
they were requiring him to pull it out to have it liquid. So he went through the process,
Yeah.
went through Coinbase, did the emails. He was able to cash it out. He cashed out a good
Wow.
majority of it, not all of it, but he cashed out a percentage of it, cashed it out, and then boom, he had his money liquid for him to purchase his house. So his investment in
That,
Bitcoin early on helped him buy a multi-unit, and then he became a real estate agent right after.
wow. That is an amazing story. I
Yeah.
love it. I love everything
So
about it.
I have seen it firsthand. I've done a transaction, not where it was a Bitcoin purchase, but someone had purchased a property using
Right.
Bitcoin by transferring the value into USD. And, when you talk about tokenization and you're talking about the technology, really it's just archiving data. It's the
Right.
same thing that we do with a deed. You get a deed, you're entrusting the government, saying that the government, colonized this country, they colonized it, and then from then on, anybody who has ownership on that deed owns this property, and we're going to collect the taxes. But the viewers out there, when Christopher is talking about tokenization, he's discussing it in the sense of now there's a public ledger that's engraved that can't be changed or deformed that states that you have ownership equity in this said property. And that's the key. It's the technology.
And that's
It's the
real
trust.
time, right? Real time. And just like the ability to transfer ownership is instant. If you're on the same platform and you own property and I own property, we don't have to go through this normal closing that we do now. That's a whole nother small simplified. They're making home ownership almost a commodity at that point. You can move it just like you move in stocks, man. Like it's unbelievable to me.
Yes, looking forward to it. So as we get near closing this up, just wanted to get some in-depth questions with you as we wrap up. If you could change one industry practice or policy tomorrow to better serve clients, what would it be?
I would definitely increase the DTI, man. I want people to get through the door. I just think that, sources of income, like we got to be better at giving people opportunities. So I think we do a better job of getting people qualified and through the door.
I hear you on that, brother. That sounds good. We need more people, more homeowners, for sure.
That's right.
And we're going to go through our last section, which is our rapid fire, better living interest rapid five. So I'm going to ask you a few questions, and then you're going to let me know real quick off the top of your head your answer. So one book or podcast every real estate pro should check out.
Book or podcast? Better Living Podcast for sure. You got to do that. But the book I think I read not too long ago was Gap and Game. I think it's Dave Sullivan. Kind of into his stuff lately. It's just really telling us about that journey. I'm all about the journey, man. So it's about, as you going through these struggles and barriers, like, are you in the gap? Are you causing the gap for yourself or these constraints or the things? Or are you in the game, meaning that you're using that and you're still able to leverage whatever that situation is. So it's a really interesting book. I kind of felt that's a really good, because as we are stacking our way up to wealth, we run into different things that we don't know. And sometimes we make constraints of our own self. And you need to recognize when you're making yourself the actual constraint so you can be able to elevate.
Nice. Best life hack for balancing client work and personal time.
Make it your purpose. That was easy for me, man. If it's aligned with your purpose, it doesn't feel like work.
Gotcha. Would you rather have your company stay as a private company or publicly traded?
Woo! Publicly traded. That is something as a kid, that's like going to the NFL. I don't think I drink that far. Like now that you say that, publicly traded would probably be something I would try to tackle.
That's what's up. And who is your model in business? Who do you model your business practices from? It could be it could be any industry.
Yeah, when I just look at a lot of different people, I like John Hope. I look at a lot of the stuff he's doing through his nonprofit. I work at Operation Hope and the impact he made around financial literacy. He's someone I really align with. I do got some other local people like Brian Schiff, people that I've seen that just care, man, about they really place their money somewhere. And, people that I'm just going to say, because this is who I am, man. When people put purpose in their ROI, I really have an affinity for those people, because I understand that's not easy, right? It's not easy to not just go off all the money you can get and actually try to be helpful to people. So anyone who's doing that tend to have my interests.
And last one, your real estate dream market overseas. What would be that?
Man, this is getting good. Someone just told me about Canary Islands. I've never been there, but they sent me pictures. I'm like, you know what? I want to go there.
That's what's up. Why not? Let's get some hotels, get some real estate, build a farm,
right.
build some houses, pursue to own. Let's go.
That's right. That's right.
And where could the people contact you? How could the people find you? How can the people get connected with you and get your services?
So we have pretty much at Pursuit on all the social media stuff. So YouTube, whatever, we're building out all those platforms. But where I'm the most active right now is LinkedIn. Like that's me hardcore every day. Christopher Pitt, MBA on LinkedIn. I think I get some very valuable connections there, and I plan to use it a lot more.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And we're going to put Christopher's contact information below in the description. Please reach out if you're ever in the Pennsylvania, Delaware market area, looking to buy, purchase, sell, develop. He's that guy.
Right.
Contact him.
I'm here. I'm him.
him. Well, Christopher, thank you again for sharing your time, your journey, and insights it's clear your experience across every stage of the real estate process has made you a powerhouse in this field. If the people want to connect with you or learn more, we got your contact information below, especially your LinkedIn. He's reachable on LinkedIn. That's how I was able to connect with him. People don't
Yeah, I love
understand.
LinkedIn.
They overlook LinkedIn. LinkedIn is very
That's right.
powerful.
It is, man. It's the right kind of people there, man. I'm not your TikToker, but we do have an account.
You everywhere. You everywhere. Well, again, thank you, brother. Appreciate you for the time again. And hopefully everybody had got some great in-depth knowledge, some insight, and some inspiration. We're just everyday people, man, living. He's a great father to his kids, a big family man. I've got to see it through LinkedIn and in our text messages that he really cares about this work and he cares about his clients as well. So, you can do this work too. Don't be timid. Beyond the sky's the limit, man. Keep going.
Absolutely.
So thank you guys. Appreciate you. And again, keep living better. Like this video, subscribe to the Better Living Interest channel, and drop a comment below. What are your biggest takeaways you got from Christopher's career journey and real estate insight? Until then, peace.